Hello, welcome to Wide Left Sports. Today I'm joined by former college cheerleader Riley Newpher. Riley, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I am doing really good, really good. So, my first question is kind of the same to a lot of athletes, but what gave you your love for dance and cheer and all the things like that?
Yeah, honestly, actually, I grew up as a competitive gymnast and I never imagined myself being involved in cheer. But it wasn't until my twin sister August, actually. She was a cheerleader, she was a competitive cheerleader for a long time, and I used to make fun of her for it, honestly. And it wasn't until I hit high school and her and my mom both really pushed me to get out there, make friends, get involved in my school. And really just watching through my sister share this love of cheerleading throughout her whole life, honestly. It really made me want to be involved and just even doing a sport with my sister. That's what really made it fun and stuff. And after that, I was like, I want to take this to the college level. And my mom was a former GCU student. She was getting her PhD that she actually just graduated with,
Yeah, she
but
did.
she was while looking around the campus one year, my senior year actually, and she just called me, and I remember her telling me that, oh my gosh, like it's an amazing campus, it's huge, the people are wonderful, like you would love it out here. They have an amazing cheer program, and I just kind of brushed it off. I was like, no, like I cannot see myself doing collegiate cheer, especially D1. I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not up there. But really after that, she pushed me to, she was like, "You really got this. You should try." And I tried out and I made it and yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that's so awesome. So, let's go back to your gymnastics background
Yeah.
because all those things kind of go hand in hand. But how do you think
Yeah.
gymnastics helped you with cheerleading and just that aspect of your life?
Yeah. Honestly, gymnastics, I will always give credit to one. That's where my strength came from. It really built teamwork in me and it really gave me um let me see really what a team is all about. And, sometimes it's not just about yourself. Sometimes you really do need people to make it work and, have a winning team. And yeah, honestly, it really gave me my competitive side too. Obviously, like sports, it is a team sport, but there is an individual aspect. And I
Right.
think, especially with gymnastics, although in gymnastics you have four different events, but you can score individually, but also as a whole, you guys get scored together. And I think that really helped me push myself to individually thrive and make myself better, but know that as a team, as collective teammates, we can make it better together. So yeah.
That's awesome. So you mentioned being able to cheer with your sister. And for people that don't know, you guys are basically identical twins.
We are, yes.
And so, how cool was that to one cheer with her, but then also with you guys being identical twins? Did you guys play any tricks on your coaches and teachers growing up? I know you did. So, yeah.
We honestly, we were always separated in our classes, so you could really tell. But um, if you really know us and you put it side to side, you can tell. So we weren't really able to trick our coaches or anything, and um, which honestly was not so fun because we always wanted to. We tried one time tricking one of our school teachers, but she immediately knew after we switched seats. But cheering with her, honestly, it was probably one of the most fun experiences. I loved having my sister next to me. There was a point in time where my mom had to do gymnastics with me. She hated gymnastics, but I just thought it was so fun with her and just even like having not even just a friend, but like I think a sister bond is definitely different than a friend bond. So it was just always so fun and it was super nice to have someone always there for me, and especially because she had more background than me at
Yeah.
the time when we both cheered. She was able to give me her knowledge, help me through anything. Because there was a point in time we were on two different teams. Because when you go into high school, you have to start on JV, and she was on varsity already. And it was just super cool, even just being able to learn from her. And she is older than me, so she really took on that older sister role. But yeah, it was just really inspiring, and I truly did look up to her, and I definitely give her a lot of credit too for me being where I'm at in cheer today, and just even give me that push. And she's the one that really pushed me to even take cheer to the next level. So I give lots of credit to her.
Oh, that's awesome. So, what was it like to be able to cheer for senior high and, put on that uniform for the orange and black and just
Yeah.
get to cheer for senior high?
It was so fun. I absolutely loved my college experience, my high school experience. I'm sure every athlete can tell you putting on that specific uniform just gives you something else. It makes you feel powerful. It makes you really feel like you're showing school spirit and getting involved. And it was always so fun. I loved it. All the outfits, they were cute. It was a good time. But yeah, no, senior high, I absolutely loved senior high. I could not have asked for a better high school experience. The was amazing. The students were amazing. I have great stories from back in my high school days, and I would change nothing about it. It was just absolutely amazing. It was so fun.
I love that. And the cool thing about seniors right in between the two other schools. So you
Yeah.
have a pretty good rivalry with both Skyview and
Oh
West.
yeah.
A little bit
Yes.
better with West as of recently.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what were those rivalry games like?
They were the best. Senior versus West was always the nights that we looked forward to. They were the big football games that we always just knew. I mean, really, at that time, we always knew West would kick our butt, but not even just that. It was just like so fun because both schools would just come out with so much spirit. Crowds were completely full. I mean, it's a huge rival. Obviously, all of us would know. Um, but it was so fun. Honestly, it was even super fun just competing with the other cheerleaders on the other side. I remember we would shout other chants to each other to see who could be louder. Um, and honestly, it was just more of a fun time than anything. And even just like because all of us, I'm sure we all have friends from West High too. I had good friends, even cheerleaders on that side. And one of my favorite times ever was every time we would play a West High, we would all come together during halftime and take a team photo together, and we would be able to like see our friends for that time and just interact a little bit. And then we would go back and completely act like we hate each other, but in the end, we all know that we love each other, and it was just so fun. It was definitely probably the best football time, was playing against West High.
I love that. Being a West High grad, I know all about those rivalries. And
Yeah.
besides my
Yes.
senior year, where we did not win a game, we beat senior every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But so my next question is obviously cheering in high school, you're cheering for every sport possible, whether that be,
Yeah.
I know you guys cheer for soccer, you cheer for football, obviously, you cheer for basketball, and I can't think of all the others, but I know there's others too. So for you, what was the most fun to get to cheer for?
Hands down football. I will always say football was my favorite. And honestly, I just think it's because I feel like more students showed up then. And you really like obviously when there's more students, you can feel the crowd and just feel their energy, and just everyone's happy and excited to be there. And I think for us it definitely makes us feel like it's gonna be a better time. And I know I've been told many times, even especially during high school, no one watched the cheerleaders. But I will beg to differ, because every time there was a timeout or we got a touchdown, they always wanted us to do a cool flip, a cool trick. So I will always stand by, although people did not think they wanted to watch us. I know you were watching us, but it was just even more fun just because most of our friends would show up during that time too, and especially because I think football games just are more popular.
Yeah,
And especially because it's nicer weather, so you get to just be outside and be kids. So I think definitely football season was my favorite.
that's awesome. So you talked about the stunts, and I remember I saw the West High section this last fall did a TikTok video, and it was them doing, and I can't remember the song, but they were like stayed in the stunt for the entire like 30 to
Hmm.
40 second or video. And I was like, okay, that's an awesome video, but let's talk about this cheerleaders that are
Yeah.
mid stunt doing this. So talk about the like strength that you have to do the stunts that are done on a Friday
Yeah.
night or Saturday night or whenever you're doing your performances.
Yeah, definitely. I will say I love to hear people think that cheerleading isn't a sport because I don't think people realize how much strength it takes. I mean, we were in the weight room at least 3 times a week. But on top of that, we were having practices every day, right after school, 2 to 3 hours. There was even a period of time where we would come in before school from 5 to 7. We would have an hour to get ready for school, and we were back out at 3 o'clock practicing because you just need to build that stamina. You know, it takes a lot of stamina, it takes a lot of strength. You need to be able to hit those stunts, especially in front of a crowd, because it is very embarrassing when it doesn't go your way, which obviously that does happen. But I mean, we need crazy ab strength, especially as flyers, crazy arm strength because you're holding a human being up above your head. As a back spot, you need crazy arm strength as well because you're the one really just holding that muscle up so that your bases feel lighter, carrying an actual human being above their heads. Yeah, so I love when people say that because I mean we are in the weight room just as much, I think, or maybe sometimes even more than other sports are in the weight room.
Right.
Um, and I don't think people realize also, you know, we were running the mile every single morning at 5 o'clock every summer. We were doing a CrossFit, and that I think would surprise a lot of people because again, people don't realize, you know, just how much strength you need, just how much stamina, how much core you need. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. So then obviously you said you were a late bloomer into cheerleading, which is
Yeah.
awesome that you were able to do what you were being a late bloomer. But when did you know that you wanted to do it collegiately? And then I know you talked about that your mom kind of geared you towards GCU.
Yeah.
What ultimately made you choose to go to GCU?
Yeah. I'll start with the first question. So honestly, it wasn't until maybe my junior year I really started thinking about college. Um, and honestly, at first I wanted to do collegiate gymnastics, but when I was about 16, I injured my back pretty bad, and that ultimately led me to having to drop out of gymnastics so I wouldn't progress that injury. And all I had was cheer, and honestly, it definitely showed me that I did have this true love for cheer. I always, kind of pushed it off and was just like, it's an extracurricular activity. Gymnastics is where it's at. But yeah, it wasn't until my junior year where I really was like, I want to do sports in college. I wasn't sure what yet. And then once gymnastics was kind of out of that area, I was like, maybe I could do college cheer. And I knew I wanted to do D1 cheer just because I'm a very competitive person. So I definitely knew I wanted to reach for those stars. But like I told you in the beginning, I just wasn't sure if that's like where I would really be able to excel. I like you said, I was a late bloomer. I didn't have that competitive cheerleading behind me. All I knew was gymnastics. And really it took a lot of me to even just get used to cheer because gymnastics I feel like you use a lot of different muscles in your body because I was always taught, you need to be tight, you need to stick everything, all these things. And cheerleading is really flowy. You need to know how to like move your body and
Mm-hmm.
dance. And that part was really hard for me to be able to let my body loose and stuff. But yeah, I definitely knew I wanted to just at least do something in college. And then um my senior year, my mom really was just like, you should try it. Again, GCU was a D1 collegiate cheer, and they had good academics. It was in Phoenix. I love the warm weather, and I'm a big city girl, so I definitely wanted to be in a big city. And my dad actually went out to college out in Phoenix. We have family friends out there, so it was just, all these things were pointing to GCU. And I ended up going to their first cheer clinic actually back in January of 2022. And it was so much fun. I met the most amazing people. They are really truly the people that really told me that you should try this. You know, we could really see you on the team. I mean, their athletes are just the most amazing human beings. They obviously it was a private Christian school. That's what GCU is.
Hmm.
And we didn't really grow up religious. And it was just super cool to see that side of them. And you know, they helped me a lot of finding my faith and stuff, but it wasn't even just about cheer with them. It was about their relationships. They you could really tell with these people they wanted the best for everybody. And it was nice to see that people aren't so serious about their sport, but more of the relationships they make and just how they make people feel walking into those doors. Like you're just this amazing athlete and that you can do anything you put your mind to and you are strong and you can do hard things. And it was just an eye-opening experience. And after that clinic, I actually ended up staying back and having a private with one of their cheerleaders at the time. And I just remember like telling him like, you know, I don't really have experience. Like, I'm sorry. And I just like kept apologizing because I just felt like I was making so many mistakes in this private. And he was just like, no, like you are absolutely amazing. You have this talent. Like you can do it and we want to see you back. And I just went home and I was like I'm set. Like I need to do this. I need to prove that I can do hard things. And when I went home, my mom was like, "Okay, well, let's see what other clinics they have." And we tried to go to every clinic I could. And actually, GCU does have this cool thing where you can get like a free trip to Arizona if you go on a Discover trip. And that was, I mean, my counselor, like she pulled a few strings and was able to fly me down for free a couple of times actually, which was a big help because obviously we could not afford all those flights, but we
Yeah.
could afford a clinic. So yeah, we just kept pushing it and just trying to make sure that I could get out there. And yeah, then tryouts came and I made it. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So you mentioned the tryouts there at the very end, and I know from a few other cheerleaders that I've had on that are on the MSU squad now that their tryouts are insane and very cutthroat. So talk
Yeah.
to me a little bit about your experience at GCU and how cutthroat
Oh,
that was.
oh, sorry, my cats are here. Yeah, for sure. So obviously this was my first time experiencing a tryout that lasts days. You know, I'm used to, you know, you go in for a couple hours and at the end of the day, they will post your number and if you make it, you make it. And so yeah, that honestly was the first surprise. I learned that it was a 3-day tryout. Day one, you go in and you do about three things each day. So, my first day, we did our IMEs, which are just intermediate stunts that you should have all the time. We did our tumbling, and we did our fight song. And that tryout, we were probably at the school for about 12 to 14 hours. It started at the doors open at 7 o'clock a.m. and we did not leave that arena until 10:30 at night.
Wow.
And every round, they would post your numbers on the side of the door, and if you made it, you would enter back in. They would tell you what would be next, and if not, obviously you would go home.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was day one, and then day two, if you made it to day two, it was interview time. So you got different like times. If you were trying out for all girl, you had your own time. If you were doing co-ed, so co-ed tops and co-ed males, you had your own time as well. And I luckily got put in, I was trying out for co-ed. So luckily I got put on the second interview session. So I didn't have to go in until probably around 10:30. But even then we had our interview time and day two was supposed to be shorter, but it ended up being just as long because interviews took so much longer than they anticipated. But basically, you would go in and do your interview. You would leave, and interviews probably lasted about 5.5 hours. And these tryouts, GCU probably has tryouts between the people they expect each year is between 200 to 400 people. It's a big
Wow.
tryout. My year, we had about 300 girls try out. Oh, not just girls, but just athletes try out.
Yeah.
And obviously each year, even if you were on the team the year before, you still have to try out. Um, and their team, they really want to see about 60 to 80 people, but obviously it ranges every year because of, you don't know what kind of talent's walking in. My year they accepted, I think 65, which was pretty low for
Wow.
them.
Yeah.
They were definitely not expecting that, but again, they have high standards, so it is pretty hard to get in. But anyway, after interviews on day two, we came in about 3 o'clock, and we had our elite stunts next. And actually, I remember doing my elite stunts, and I was the last one in my row to go. And they actually ended up having me stunt with every single guy. And I was like just so nervous because I was like, am I messing up? Um, like I had so many emotions going through my head. Honestly, like it took so much in me to like hold back tears because I was just like, what is like going on? Why am I the only one having something with all these
Yeah.
people? Um, and I also remember during that we also did a cheer, and in some of their cheers, you if you're a tumbler, you can choose to tumble and stuff. And obviously at tryouts, you want to give it all you got. And at the time, I was the tumbler, so I tried doing a backflip in the middle of a routine, and I didn't land perfect, and immediately I just started thinking of like all these things that could be happening, like just because I didn't land right, I didn't even fall, but I just didn't land perfectly. I was just so stressed out. I was like I completely messed it up. Anyway, and then after that they had another cut. So they had two cuts on day two, after one after interviews and then one after elites. And then if your number was on the back door, um, you were invited officially on the team. And that night we were probably there until again like probably 10 o'clock at night. And we walked in, and they told us like, you guys, congratulations, you made the team. The next day we had our first day of practice already. So you were up and early. Practice was at 8 a.m. You had to be full game day ready, hair and makeup. Uh, we had like tryout shirts that we got if we made the team, obviously. That was our tryout outfit of the day.
Hmm.
But you had to come full glam, full uh makeup, everything, 8 a.m. the next day, and we didn't get home probably until 11. Um, and they released our names on the website to officially congratulate us to making the team, and you had to stay up until they announced your name on the website to see if you made it to day one of tryouts. Because although we were like brought back in night of day two, technically you weren't on the team yet. You had to make it past that night.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
so yeah, you were staying up until whenever they released it, and they said that they would release it 30 minutes after we left. It was more like an hour and a half after we left. Um, and yeah, so we opened up Instagram at 11 o'clock at night. My mom saw that they had posted names. Obviously, we didn't look yet, but I actually was in the middle of a shower, and she calls me out, and my name was on the list, and I was there at 7 o'clock the next day for day one of practice
That
after three
that's
long days.
that's so crazy yet awesome.
Yeah.
I got tired just thinking about that, and I
Yeah,
didn't go through it. That's crazy.
it definitely is a process, but it was fun. It definitely made it all worth it in the end.
Oh, that's awesome. So, one of the really cool things about GCU that the whole country gets to see when they make March Madness every single year, because they
Yeah,
seem to make
yes.
it every year, is the student body, the Havoc,
Yeah.
and just what that is like for you as a cheerleader there. What was it like to experience that?
Oh, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know that GCU is ranked number one um, of the student section. We take pride in it. They definitely take a lot of pride in it, as they should. We are labeled as the biggest party in America. And it's true. I mean, every game it is sold out of students. They pack the arena like crazy, and their energy is just like no other. I mean, and you even feel it as an athlete, like it hits you at a time where you're just like, I'm tired. I want to I need to sit down. But their energy is really what like pushes you. And You honestly just forget about how tired you get, and you just want to, give them the show that they came to see, and they loved watching the cheerleaders. And I think that especially like makes it worth it, because obviously coming from high school and people are like, oh, we don't care. No one wants to see you guys at the games. And just to come to a humongous student section of thousands of students that love to see what you do. They know the hard work you put in, and they all want to get to know you. I mean, GCU, I will even now, going to a different university, I will still stand by they are the friendliest group of people I've ever met. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to be your friend. Um, if you're randomly walking, you will have someone random say hi, and you obviously say hi back, and they just want to talk to you, and it's just absolutely amazing. It's wonderful. Their energy is amazing, and it definitely makes it all worth it.
Oh, that's so awesome. So, just a few other things as we kind of wrap up here. One, you just mentioned that you obviously have moved on from GCU. So,
Yeah.
what are you doing now?
Yeah, I am in Reno. I'm studying at the University of Nevada, Reno, and I am majoring in neuroscience with a minor in psychology. And my future goal is to be a pediatric pulmonologist.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Congrats on that. That
Thank
is
you.
amazing. Just
Thank
great.
you.
And then what advice do you have for future athletes that are getting into cheerleading to get to that next level, especially here in
Yeah.
Montana, to get to that level at like a GCU or another D1 school?
Yeah. Honestly, my first advice would be just go for it. I definitely think people, especially a lot of athletes, they struggle with thinking they have that potential. And my advice is you do. You have the potential, you know what you can do, and I believe that anyone can obviously always excel. But with that, put your mind to it, and you can do hard things. You can do whatever you set your mind to. And and actually, I went through this during my tryout. I remember walking back, and my group had finished, and I just started falling apart because I just didn't think I made it. I remember just falling to my friend's arms and telling her like I'm not good enough. I didn't do it. I can't do it. I don't want to do this. I am giving up. And she looked at me and she goes, "No, you can do it, and you did do it. And whatever happens, just know that you went through 3 days of this. Like, and imagine just how insane that is. Like, you put your body through it. You were here every day on time. You worked your butt off. You did those extra hours outside. And if it doesn't happen, then it wasn't meant to be. But you know what? Then in that case, you have greater and better things in the future that will come your way, because it doesn't always happen. And it is hard. It definitely is hard, and especially just even getting yourself to do it, I think is enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I will always believe that it's in God's hands, and whatever will be, it will be. And if it doesn't, you move on and just know that he has greater and better things in store for you.
I love that. And then my final question is, it's not really a question, but I know your parents and your sister have been a huge support system for you.
Yeah.
So what would you say to them now as like a shout out?
Honestly, I would just say thank you. I cannot thank them enough, and I don't think I will ever have the words to fully express to them just how grateful and thankful I am for their 100% support all the time. They obviously have never let me down, and if anything, I know I can always count on them. And although I will never be able to repay it back, but I will always be their biggest support system, and I love them.
Awesome. Well, Riley, I want to thank you so much for coming on and telling us about all the cool things you've done and will continue to do. And just thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, you have a great rest of your night.
You too.